Yo, what's up, guys? I just finished a Fate story, and let's talk about it. So, in my opinion, I was not expecting much from this crossover at all. Once I knew that Nasu was not going to be handcrafting, hand delivering his work to us with this crossover, I automatically had um, like, my expectations were already pretty low. Just as far as Star Rail's story goes. Like, Star Rail's not like the worst at delivering story, but it's definitely not even the best or even close to mid with most of its delivery. But I have to say, the story, even you can tell that Nasu kind of like okay greenlit some of the story. It's not as bad as some people may make it seem, but it's definitely not great. And there were only like a handful of times in the story where it actually made mention or references to the Fate franchise, which is cool, but it mostly focused on tying in the characters with Panak, yeah, Panakini's story. Uh, and that's really what you get here. You really just get the overall world building continuation of that chapter of the Star Wars story. It doesn't really tie in the Fate franchise too much. It's really about unraveling some more story or some more motivations behind the founders of Penacony or Penacony, however you want to say it. Let's go with Penacony. But yeah, it's not too, it's not too in depth, not too crazy when it comes to the storytelling, and it's not like anybody should have been really looking for or expecting that. One thing I will say, like a good thing. Let's go positive with this event. I think the characters are done really well. I like Saber's animations. The voices are great. It's the original voices. Archer is great. His voice is great. He does all the lines. That's awesome. I also love that Lancer is in the game. Cool. That's very awesome. He's still like kind of the same type of guy. He's barely around though. They don't even bother really animating him unless it's in a cutscene. Doesn't really do a whole lot, but it's cool that he's around. And I like the fact that they tied in the Grail War with the history of Penacony is cool. They had a very like clear idea of what they wanted to do, and I think they successfully landed the plane on trying to use it to expand on the history and like the motivations of the founders. So that's cool. While trying to make it fun, because it was kind of like a lighter story as far as Fate is concerned. This is a lighter story. It's probably in the realm of how dark or deep Star Wars stories could normally get, besides if you're doing the current story chapter, which is a little more dark, or a lot more, depending on how far you are. So yeah, those are the positives. Like, not terrible storytelling, and the fake characters are all like intact. They are themselves, which is cool. They didn't really do anything crazy there. The negatives, honestly, like I said, there's no Gil. Lancer is not really a part of the story too much. He's not even animated. I'll understand not being able to roll him, but I thought it would be cool if they at least did some animations or something. And when they showed, like, they do a reality marble or a noble phantasm for one of the characters, I won't spoil, but they reuse assets from Finon's story, which is not really great in my opinion, and they kind of shoe in you know a lot of things that don't really fit the story. Like, a lot of stuff that they try to do doesn't quite land too well if you know the Fate franchise. They do a lot of the quips of the characters really well, like Shiro and the TVs and Artoria liking to eat a lot, you know, Archer's quips and stuff. They do that very well, but a lot of the other stuff doesn't really land too well. And another negative thing is that the Noble Phantasm used in the beginning takes away the ability for the characters to express themselves through voice. A lot of it is not voice acted because they went with a story where the first Noble Phantasm used makes it a silent film for all the characters except the person who used it, which is, you know, a little lazy, but it works with the context of the story and what they're trying to do with the whole movie motif. But I look at that as a negative because, you know, you want to get the most out of your collab, and I don't really think that's getting the most out of it where you only have like 50% of it is unvoiced, and so the characters don't really get to live and express themselves in the world. What did I say? You know, I think those are the major positives and negatives that I want to talk about. Realistically, the story is not that bad. It's kind of mid, but you know, mid is not always bad. It's not great either. I think if I were to, you know, give a suggestion for the next time, I would say even if characters are not playable, I would say try to add more characters from the collab. No one knows if this is going to come back or if there's going to be a second part ever again. These banners are going on for a long time, so I would assume that there is no other part coming and that once it's gone for good. So as a collab, do I think that this failed? No, not in my opinion. The story is not for Fate fans. It's like, it's to get Fate fans to check it out and to roll the characters that they like if they happen to play the game. I'll say it a better way. If you're a Star Rail player and you love Fate, you're excited about pulling your characters in this game, but you're not really caring about the story. If you're a Fate fan who cares about the story, should you start playing Star Rail? And, you know, I don't think that those type of players will be liking the story because it doesn't really do anything to keep a Fate player engaged or at least spark interest in the story. I could be wrong. There could be a couple people out there that are like, oh my god, I want to find more about Penacony. I want to find out more about the whole world and stuff like that. But like I said, one of the parts uses assets from the Finon story, which is weird as hell. So in my opinion, as a Fate fan, if you're new to Star Rail, the story is not good, which means the collab is a little less than palatable. But if you're a Star Rail player and a Fate fan, and you're just happy enough to pull these two characters, wishing there was maybe one more character or a little something more, but overall you're just okay. Story's not bad enough to be really angry about it, but not really anything to get hype about, in my opinion. As a Fate fan, as a person who's playing FGO and has played FGO for a long time, and has played a lot of Fate games and watched all the Fate media that's out there to watch, I thought it was okay. Not too crazy, not too bad. But yeah, I don't want this video to go on too long. We're already at the 9-minute mark. But I just wanted to give my take on the Fate collab. And finally, is it worth actually getting into if you don't play Star Rail already? I would say just go look at the cutscenes and decide for yourself. The story is not good enough for you to start the game. But if you want to play the game and this is a catalyst for you to play the game, then okay, hop in. It's not that bad where it's going to turn you away. And you get to pull for notable characters in the game. But other than that, I would say don't do it. But not too bad. Knock yourself out. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. See you guys later. Peace.